So I just got done watching the Half-Life Iceberg explanation video, and the first thing I thought was, is there a Portal Iceberg? There is, but there are no videos explaining it, so here I am. This is the Portal Iceberg. Before we get started, I just want to thank the user for making this Portal Iceberg. Their name will be on screen right now. The rating system I'm going to use is these 5 cute companion cubes on the bottom left. It will be 5 out of 5 when I'm for sure know what I'm talking about, and it will go down as more when I'm more unsure. With that being said, let's take a look into the Portal Iceberg. The Ratman dens are secret rooms that can be found throughout Portal and Portal 2. The rooms are usually small and cramped spaces filled with scribbles, cameras, and other physics objects. It wasn't until the comic Lab Rat where it was revealed Doug Ratman was the one who stayed in these little rat dens, thus the name. The scribbles on his walls painted a very dark picture of what happened before the events of Portal and provide a very creepy atmosphere for the rest of the game. The cake is a lie is a message that can be found on the wall of the rat den in test chamber 16. This became a meme within the gaming community and can still be found within Valve fandoms today. The turret opera is the music number for the end of Portal 2. You get lifted via elevator into a room, and an entire chorus of turrets sing to the player, in Italian as well. During the development of Portal, the dev team decided to reuse texture assets from Half-Life 2, thus confirming that Half-Life and Portal are set in the same universe. This coincides with Aperture's Borealis, a huge ship that was the main focus of Aperture's teleportation research. After the test went wrong, it teleported somewhere in the Arctic, only to be brought up again in Half-Life 2.
It's the Borealis!
Good God.
Incredible!
What? The Borealis? It's real?
Oh yes, quite real, despite its almost legendary stature. Our peers at Aperture Science were at work on a project of some promise, but in their rush to beat Black Mesa for funding, they must have compromised ordinary standards of risk. We heard their research vessel had simply disappeared, vanished.
This Easter egg refers to a voice line where GlaDos gives the player advice, only to come out too sped up for the player to understand. But slowed down, it's actually a paragraph from Moby Dick. Found on a turret assembly line in Portal 2, the Oracle turret is a turret that predicts the future events in the game, mostly telling the predictions through Greek mythology references. Yeah, it's weird.
Prometheus was punished by the gods for giving the gift of knowledge to man. He was cast into the bowels of the earth and pecked by birds. Thank you.
Chariots refers to the Portal 2 DLC Perpetual Testing Initiative. The player travels through alternate timelines as Cave Johnson tries to keep in contact, but his alternate selves begin to contradict one another. Thus, Earth Prime Cave makes up a code word. Chariots. Just like GlaDos doublespeak, this is another Easter egg that refers to the Fat Core's dialogue, which is mostly facts, but has jokes as well.
The Schrodinger's cat paradox outlines a situation in which a cat in a box must be considered, for all intents and purposes, simultaneously alive and dead. Schrodinger created this paradox as a justification for killing cats. Every square inch of the human body.
Narbacular Drop was a puzzle game where the player worked with portals to navigate dungeons, and was the blueprint game for Portal. Richard Lord was an artist at Valve who provided the placeholder voice for the E3 video Meet Wheatley. Due to positive feedback, Valve considered making Richard the official voice, but instead chose to cast Stephen Merchant. Also known as the laser turret, this turret was an unused asset for Portal 2. It can still be spawned through commands, although this will result in an error placeholder instead of the model. diversity vent is the elevator placeholder for Portal 2. Unused skins show the vents would have been capable of carrying companion cubes, open fire turrets, hover turrets, and other physics objects. Walking turrets were walking sentry turrets with a single side-mounted gun and an orange eye. Concept art was revealed during the Potato Fool's Day ARG. When asked, animator Karen Prell later explained the turret didn't work well as a game mechanic and was cut in late development of Portal. Futbol was a game mode that was cut from Portal 2's co-op mode. It featured a ball that would break upon touching the ground, and a dispenser and a socket that would be used to distribute the ball and score goals. Voice lines can still be found in the game files, but besides that, everything else was cut. Launched in 2006, this website was made to promote Portal's launch in 2007, and was later updated to include Portal 2's announcement ARG. Sadly, this website has been long abandoned, but can be viewed through the Wayback Machine. FSTOP is an unused Portal 2 mechanic that is still kept under wraps by Valve's staff. Not much has been dug up, but there are old texture files, concept art for Greg and Cave, and a few screenshots of test footage. It was eventually scrapped because of the lack of portals. Before we go any deeper, I want to issue a warning. These next segments include heavy topics such as rape and death. You can skip to this timestamp on screen if needed. This refers to the theory that in the original Portal 2, Carolyn was forced into being uploaded to GlaDos in a vivid rape-like scene. The theory states that after recording lines, Ellen McLean burst into tears and J.K. Simmons refused to record lines. This theory is supported by leftover voice lines that can be found in the game files. During Portal 2's development, the game was originally supposed to have multiple endings. The bad ending was supposed to feature Chell dying in any number of ways, such as turret fire or neurotoxin, to which then the credits would roll and the game would end. This was scrapped due to the amount of effort to little payoff. I'm assuming this is a side theory that goes off of the human cores theory. I can see how a human's consciousness being uploaded to one small core could cause a shrinkage of that consciousness. So instead of a human with feelings and memories, you get a core obsessed with one personality. Sadly, I wish I could have a better explanation, but I couldn't find anything in the game files, wiki, or subreddit, so I will leave it at that. This is a theory that the cores from Portal used to be scientists. This theory is supported by Carolyn's plotline where she was uploaded onto GlaDos, and the fact that Aperture began testing lower-level employees during the 80s. Joe Michaels is a Seattle-based voice actor that was the voice for the announcer in Portal 2, and in early recordings you can hear the directors giving him cues. This refers to the achievement Smash TV. You can obtain this achievement by smashing all 11 of Wheatley's monitors. During the development of Portal 2, Cave Johnson was planned to be put into a storage cube. There isn't much left from the storyline except for some old subtitles that make for a very creepy read. So this entry actually means two things, so instead of picking one, I'll just cover both. Adrian SHepHard refers to the acronym for the Aperture Science handheld portal device. The acronym ASHPD apparently has a resemblance to the name Adrian SHepHard. This has led some fans to believe this is actually an Easter egg. Valve later debunked this. Another Easter egg can be found on Portal's end screen. If you look closely at the keyboard and the highlighted keys, you can see they spell out Adrian SHepHard. This was confirmed by Valve to be an Easter egg, and sadly, nothing more. Animex 2012 was an animation panel that was hosted by Karen Prell, who is best known for her work on Portal 2. The panel showcased many scrap features of both Portal and Portal 2, such as old voice lines, footage of the walking turret, old Wheatley test footage, and a lot more. But I like to keep these explanations short, so if you're interested, you can find the whole thing on YouTube. Link will be in the description. This refers to the fact that Greg was originally supposed to be Cave Johnson's assistant in Portal 2, but was cut due to Valve not seeing any point in hiring a new voice actor. Instead, he was reused and put into the DLC Perpetual Testing Initiative. Again, I couldn't find anything about this on the internet, but I believe it has something to do with the last scene from Portal. If you load the map into Gmod or enable noclip through the console, you'll notice how small the map really is. The trees aren't even their own model, they're attached to the skybox, giving them a flat, man-made look. Because of the major differences in Portal and Portal 2, both in character design and plot, it's not a complete stretch to theorize that Portal 2 could be set in an alternate universe, though sources to back that up are limited. In the 2006 Portal trailer, the placeholder model for Chell is actually a male test subject with an orange jumpsuit. This can actually be seen for a brief second during the trailer, but it's hard to spot. This refers to the achievement Ignorant from Portal Stories Mel, a fan-made prequel, where instead of ignoring the trapped elevator, the player would completely ignore Virgil and get trapped in it instead. This is a theory that states the whole facility is actually a part of GlaDos. This is supported by multiple scenes in the game, showcasing GlaDos' ability to control most, if not all of the facility. This has led some fans to believe the facility is almost alive, almost like an extended part of GlaDos, and by some part Carolyn. Most niche Portal theories like this one take a lot of digging to find, and based on how old the theory is, it can have a very limited explanation, so please understand that I did try my best to research some of these theories, but sometimes you can't really find anything on the internet, especially when the theories have been around forever. There is some truth to this theory. For example, most of the assets used in the 2005 build were from Half-Life 2. Turrets in this build were just turrets from Nova Prospect. Even throughout Half-Life, the Overwatch speaker sounds a lot like GlaDos. This is because they have the same voice actor, but also could have something to do with Aperture. This was first brought up in Lab Rat, where Chell's last name is and throughout Portal 2, GlaDos often insults the player for being an orphan, but Chell might have, or at least had, family at some point. Seen in Chapter 5, The Escape, the player walks by a small science fair. If you go up to the mutant potato and look at the card behind it, you can see the name Chell written in messy children's handwriting. The writing under it says, made with ingredients from Daddy's work. Even though this was confirmed to be just an Easter egg, it still brings up the question, who is Chell, and how did she get here? The true size of Aperture has never been confirmed by Valve, so this question is mostly left up in the air. Fans have speculated and theorized about how big Aperture could truly be. Although we may never get an answer to this question, we did get cool fan-made maps. The 2005 build is a beta version of Portal that was leaked by a Steam user with connections to Valve. In 2017, a playable version called Project Beta was released, but has not been updated since May of 2017. Most of the game is unrecognizable and looks more like a level in Nova Prospect, but the greatest change was the final boss battle. Instead of an intense fight with GlaDos, the player would chase down a floating cube, trying to damage it with rockets while dodging turret fire. This ending was scrapped entirely because playtesters felt bad for attacking an otherwise defenseless enemy. This theory was based off the ending of Portal 2, and is even referenced in the fan-made game Aperture Tag. This refers to the trading system that was added to Portal 2 Co-op, where players could trade and buy cosmetics for Atlas or Peabody. Sadly, it was never enabled, but you can still trade cosmetics through the Steam inventory. Look, I'm gonna be honest, I can't find anything to do with Portal's Tier 4 on the internet or Half-Life Wiki, but I'm going to assume that this is something to do with Cave Johnson's 3-tier plan after contracting moonrock poisoning, which resulted in the invention of the portal gun. Tier 4 could also be a reference to the GlaDos project, but without any sources, that's mostly just a theory. This is a theory that the constant mention of potatoes in Portal 2 represents divine intervention. GlaDos getting turned into a potato could have represented karma. This can also be backed up by multiple Greek mythology references and multiple voice lines. But that's as much of the theory my research led to. This theory could also coincide with the human core theory. This theory states that every turret the player sees and interacts with was once an Aperture science test subject or scientist. There isn't much supporting this theory, and I feel like it was just kind of made to give the game a bit of a creep factor. Before I go, I'd like to mention that yes, I did skip a few subjects. With the game almost being a decade old and the wiki in not the best shape, it was very hard to gather information that I needed. If anyone has any insight on these segments, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to know what some of the explanations behind these are. I mean, hey, maybe I'll make another Iceberg video with your guys' input. All the play footage and art is linked in the description. I had a lot of fun making this video. Portal 2 is one of my all-time favorite games. The bloopers from this video will be compiled into another video and posted at some point. But for now, I think I'm going to take a very long nap. Thank y'all for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video.